Students, today we can see the topic population interaction. Is there any natural habitat which is inhabited by just one species? Or is there any species which can live in isolation? The answer will be no, isn't it? There is no such habitat where only one species is surviving or inhabiting, and there is no such a species which can live in isolation, because all species depend on each other at least for getting food, isn't it? Even if you take a plant species, even though it is capable of synthesizing its own food by the process of photosynthesis, it depends on soil microbes. Why it depends on soil microbes? Because in the soil, organic matter will be there, which will be decomposed by these microbes, and it will be converted into simple inorganic substances which can be absorbed by the plants. Okay, so the plants depend on soil microbes. The soil microbes also depend on plants, isn't it? Some rhizobium, it lives in the root nodules of the plants and get the nutrients from the plant, isn't it? Same way, the plant will be getting the nitrogen which is fixed by the rhizobium. So each and every organism will be depending on each other. Even the plants depend on various insects for pollination. If pollination is not taking place, the seeds will not be produced. If seeds are not produced, the next generation cannot be produced, isn't it? So they all depend, all organisms depend on each other. Okay, so we can say in nature, animals, plants, and microbes do not and cannot live in isolation, and they interact in various ways to form a biological community. Okay, and when we see the interactions, it can be intraspecific interaction or it can be interspecific interaction. Intraspecific means, intra means within. So within the members of the same species, they interact with each other for their survival. Same way, interspecific interaction means, inter means between. So between two different species, interaction occurs. That means two different species will be living together, and they interact with each other to get some benefit, or sometimes it cannot be always benefit also, sometimes it can be detrimental, or even it may be neutral also. Okay, so interspecific interaction means what? So here two species will be interacting with each other. So the result of this interaction can be beneficial. Beneficial means both may get benefit from each other, or it can be detrimental. Detrimental means it can be harmed. It may be affected, or it can be harmed, or it can be neutral. So what is neutral interaction? Here it is neither benefited nor harmed. Okay. And to denote this type of interactions, plus sign can be used for denoting beneficial interaction, minus sign for harmful or detrimental interaction, and 0 for denoting the neutral interaction. Okay. So different types of interspecific interactions are there, which we are going to see here. That is mutualism, competition, predation, parasitism, commensalism, and amensalism. So in mutualism, you can see here in this tabular column, both the species are benefited. Species A and species B is there. So both is denoted by plus sign. That means both are benefited. In competition, if you see, both are affected. That is, it is shown by negative sign, isn't it? Competition means two species will be there. Both will be competing. They will be fighting with each other, isn't it? So they will be affected. So it is denoted by the minus sign. And in predation, if you see, one is benefited, other is harmed. So one species is getting benefit, that is the predator is getting benefit, and the prey is affected. Okay, that's why it is represented by minus sign. Then parasitism also the same way. One species is benefited, other is affected. Which is benefited? The parasite is benefited, and which is affected? The host is affected, isn't it? The next is commensalism, in which one is benefited and the other species is neither benefited nor harmed. Okay, and in amensalism, one is affected, that is represented by minus sign. One is affected and the other is neither benefited nor harmed. Okay, one by one we can see it. For amensalism, no example is there, so first I will tell about that. So we can say the example for amensalism as Penicillium notatum, which inhibit the growth of staphylococci. So you know penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming, isn't it? He was growing staphylococci in a culture medium, and when he left that culture plate unnoticed, after a few days when he came back and saw, he found that Penicillium notatum was growing, and wherever the Penicillium notatum was growing on that culture medium, the staphylococci was not able to grow. Okay, so this is an example for Amensalism, in which two species are there, in which one is neither benefited nor harmed and other is harmed. So which is harmed here? The staphylococci bacteria is harmed. Which is neither benefited nor harmed? It is the Penicillium notatum. Okay, same way another example we can say Trichoderma, which inhibit the growth of Aspergillus. So Aspergillus is affected and Trichoderma is neither affected nor harmed. So these are examples of Amensalism. Okay, now next in detail we can see predation. What is predation? It is also an interaction, isn't it? It is a kind of direct food relationship between two species of animals, in which the larger species called the predator attacks, kills and feeds on the smaller species called the prey. Okay, so in this interaction, it is actually a direct food relationship or direct food interaction between two species of animals, in which the predator attacks, kills and feeds on the prey. So, which is benefited? The predator. What is a predator? The organism which attack, kills and eat another organism is the predator. And what is a prey? The organism which is eaten by the predator is the prey. So which is affected? The prey is affected. So one of the role of this predation is the predators can act as conduits for energy transfer. Conduits means channels for energy transfer. So energy can be transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, which you have already studied, isn't it? So here if you take the plants are considered to be the producers and they prepare their own food material, isn't it? So this food which is synthesized by the plants will be passing to the next trophic level. So which occupies the next trophic level? The consumer. So that is the herbivores. Okay, the animals which eat plants are said to be as the herbivores, and these herbivores can also be considered to be as what? Predators. Okay, so even a bird, a sparrow which is eating the seed, that also can be considered to be as a predator. Okay, normally when we talk about a predator, we may say that a tiger eating a deer can be said to be as a predator. Animal example only we used to say, isn't it? But even the plant which is synthesizing with the food and is eaten by a herbivore, that can also be considered as a predator. So the herbivores are also actually predators feeding upon the plants. Okay, so we can say one of the role of this predator is what? It acts as a conduits for energy transfer from one trophic level to another trophic level. Then another, we can say another role of this predation is it can keep the prey population under control. If the prey population is not controlled, what will happen? Their population will be going on increasing and it affects the stability of the ecosystem. It leads to ecosystem instability. So to control the prey population, the predators are very much useful. Okay, and see, suppose if in a new habitat, if you are introducing a new organism, what will happen? There won't be a natural predator for that. So what happens? That organism which is introduced will be going on multiplying. Then it will be difficult for the people to destroy that newly introduced organism. So one example given here is in Australia, the prickly pear, that is this cactus, was introduced in the year 1920s. So it was new to that country, and it was going on multiplying. The prickly pear was going on multiplying, and within short period it was occupying, or it was spreading millions of hectares of land, and they were finding it difficult to remove this cactus plant. And later they have to introduce this moth. Here you are able to see this moth. This is the cochineal moth. So actually it is the insect which feeds on the cactus plant. So they had to later introduce this cactus feeding predator, and thus the cactus population has been reduced. Okay, so for pest control method also this predation can be used. We can say for biological pest control method in agricultural field can be followed, can be adopted by using this predation technique. Okay, so various pest insects are there. Various insects are a pest for plants, isn't it? So, when the correct predator can be introduced into such a field, then the pest can be eaten up by that predators, and that pest can be kept under control. Okay. Another role of these predators is the predators help in maintaining species diversity in a community. How they help in maintaining the species diversity in a community? It can reduce the intensity of competition among competing prey species. That is, if different prey species are there, and if they compete among themselves, their competition can be reduced by the predators. Okay, that's why we can say predators help in maintaining species diversity in a community. So different species can be maintained in a community. In the American Pacific coast, there is a predator by name Pisaster. It is actually a starfish. Here you can see the starfish Pisaster. So it is one of the predator which is found in the intertidal regions in the American Pacific coast. On an experimental basis, they removed this starfish Pisaster. Okay. So what happened in that intertidal area? They found that within a year, around 10 species of invertebrates became extinct. Invertebrates like mussels, barnacles, snails, etc. They became extinct. Around 10 different species of invertebrates became extinct. Why? Because interspecific competition occurred in between the prey species, and as a result they were competing among themselves and they were destroyed. They became extinct. Okay, this was due to the removal of Pisaster predator. So when predator is there, the prey competition among the prey species can be reduced, and thus the species diversity can be maintained. Okay, we can say that the predators in nature are prudent. Prudent means wise, we can say. Why they are wise? Because if suppose if a predator is too efficient and over exploits its prey, what will happen? The prey population will be reduced and it become extinct. And if it become extinct, automatically the predator will also become extinct. Why? Because there won't be food for them. Because of lack of food, they become extinct. That's why they never destroy or overexploit its prey. So we can consider, that is the reason why predators in nature are considered as a prudent. Okay. Same way, the prey species have also evolved various defenses to reduce the impact of predation. Okay, some of the insects and frog, if you see here, the insect and the frog, they are colored or they camouflage themselves to avoid being detected by their predator, isn't it? So here the insect, if you see the phylum frondosum, the insect, it is green in color, which is similar to that of the leaf. Or the frog, you see, it is similar to that of the tree trunk. Isn't it? They camouflage themselves to avoid the detection by their predator. So how they are able to camouflage? Because they are having certain specialized cells in their skin called as chromatophores. Okay, these cells will be having chemicals that is the pigments. Various pigments are there within the cells which can absorb the light, and this light can be reflected or scattered. As a result, the same color will be scattered or reflected. As a result, the predator may not be able to see or identify the prey, and thus the prey can escape from their predator. Okay, so some of the insects and frogs can escape from the predator by camouflaging themselves. Okay. Some prey can escape from their predators because they are poisonous. Okay, so they are avoided by the predators. For example, if you take this is the monarch butterfly. It is distasteful to its predator. Which is the predator? It is the bird. Bird is the predator. So it is distasteful to the predator. How it is distasteful? How it is acquiring that chemical in their body which makes them distasteful? That is, during its caterpillar stage, it will be feeding on a poisonous weed, especially that milkweed, calotropis variety. So they will be feeding on that milkweed, that poisonous weed. So from their body, from that plant body, this chemical enters into the caterpillar body. Okay. So when the caterpillar becomes the butterfly also, or even in that caterpillar stage, they are not eaten by the predator. That is, the bird will never eat, because that chemical which is present in their body will be distasteful to the birds or to that predator. So they can escape from the predator. Okay. Most of the insects are phytophagous in nature. We can say nearly 25% of all insects known are phytophagous. What is phytophagous? Phyto means a plant. Phagus means eating. So they eat on the plants, or they feed on the plant sap, cell sap, the fluid material which is present in the plant or any other plant parts. You might have seen the caterpillars voraciously feed on the leaves, isn't it? So we can say most of the insects are phytophagous in nature, and the predator for these plants are mainly the herbivorous animals like insects and other animals. Okay. Now why the plants are not able to escape from that predators? Because they cannot run away, isn't it? Animals means they may be running away when they see their predator, but these plants, they cannot run away from the predators. So these plants have developed various morphological and chemical defenses to against that herbivores, to escape from the herbivores. Okay. In some of the plants like cactus or acacia, what is present? Thorns are there. Here you can see the acacia plant. It is having the thorns, and in cactus you have seen in the previous slide the picture, the spines are there, isn't it? So they are having thorns or spines in some of the plants which act as a defense mechanism. It is a morphological adaptation. Okay, morphological means of defense, we can say, because it is seen on the surface of the body. So as the thorns are there, if any animal is eating that plant, these thorns will prick on to their body, isn't it? So the herbivores will prevent or avoid eating such plants like acacia and cactus. Okay. And many other plants will be secreting or synthesizing and storing many chemicals in their body. Okay. So that plants can be avoided by the predators like the cattles. Cattles are the herbivorous animals. For example, the calotropis. Here the second picture which you are seeing is the calotropis plant. So this it is the milkweed. Okay. So this plant will be secreting certain chemicals in them which are called as cardiac glycosides. So what is the chemical produced by this plant? It is cardiac glycoside. So this cardiac glycosides, as it is present in this plant, these are not eaten by the herbivorous animals like cattle or goats. Normally the cattle or goats will be browsing on the field, isn't it? And this calotropis you can see growing in the abandoned field. But it is not taken up by this cattle or the herbivorous animals. Why? Because it is having the poisonous chemical called the cardiac glycosides. Okay. So if they take it, what happens? It may block their heart. the circulatory system will be affected, their heart functioning will be affected. Okay, and it can lead to the death of the animal. It can kill the animal, or even it can inhibit the feeding or digestion of the food materials can be affected due to the secretion of various chemicals, not only by calotropis, even by other plants. Okay, so normally these plants will be avoided by the grazing animals or the browsing animals or the herbivorous animals. Like this, various other chemical substances are also produced by the plants, which we are extracting also for various purposes. Okay, and such chemicals are even avoided by the herbivorous animals. Such plants are even avoided by the herbivorous animals because the chemicals are there. What are such chemicals? We can say nicotine, caffeine, quinine, strychnine, opium. So these are all some of the chemical substances which are produced by various plants, which are used as defenses against the grazing animals or the browsing animals. Okay, I hope you might have understood this predation. So this is about predation. Okay.